Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Marcus Rosa, aka Mazuma TV, back at y'all with some more boxing talk, man. I hope everybody's having a blessed, beautiful, positive, productive night. I hope you had a great day overall, man. I'm back at y'all with some more boxing talk. We're gonna be speaking about what I'm gonna be officially calling the risk-averse era. The risk-averse era. You know what I mean? Speaking about Richardson Hitchins calling out Brian Norman, then going on to disregard the fight, aka duck the smoke. We definitely gonna get into that, man. We're gonna have a whole lot to talk about. Of course, we're gonna be getting into some open boxing topics as well. You know what I mean? So shout out to the nation in the mouth for making this possible. We on the road to 4K. Wait, are we? Are we at the road to 4K? Well, I don't even know where we at. We on the road to 4K. We well up to the 3,700 mark, looking to crack that 3,800 mark in due time. Shout out to the nation and the mob for making this possible. Big shout out to everybody that's been contributing to the channel, whether it's through super chats, cash apps, Venmo, all that good stuff, man. It really goes a long way. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Shout out to the replay gang. Y'all not in the comments, but I already know that y'all in the building, man. Much love to y'all. Big shout out to everybody that's in the comments thus far. Let me go ahead and just shout a few people out before we get this show on the road. My boy Z in the building. He said, Mazuma Nation, what's going on, brother? I always appreciate you coming through and showing love. Josue Hernandez, what up? Rocco McBride, what up? Justin Jackson in the building, what up? That's my brother right there. Marissa, the little sis, YouTube's favorite. What's going on? What's going on? My boy Jake Cash in the building, what up? Double Oso, what up? What's going on? King of Brooklyn, shout out BK, man. Spread love is the Brooklyn way. What up? What up? Marlon, what up? Chris Maldonado, greetings and salutations. I know that's right, brother. Salute. Justin Jackson, Bumgarner, first fight at 135 is for his strap. That's what's up. I mean, with her, popularity, I guess, in female boxing, she should be able to get those opportunities. I just found it funny that, she was just rambling to Carolyn Dubois, like, oh, why are you worried about fighting me? I'm not even in your weight class. And then, right after her fight with Bo Ray Mishin or Bo Mi Rishin, whatever the fuck her name is, all of a sudden she's competing at lightweight. So it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking forward to seeing Carolyn Dubois and Alicia Bumgarner settle their differences. And what that told me with Alicia fighting at 135 is that most likely, Amanda Serrano and Alicia Bumgarner, it's not going to happen. But we'll see. I could be wrong. Salute to the boy Justin Jackson, though. Big Alicia Bumgarner fan over there. Let me see. My boy Shay, what up? Lorenzo and the motherfucking Benzo, what up? My boy J Cash with the $5 super chat. He said, tuition class has started. Yes, it has. Yes, it has. We're about to do a whole lot of educating in this motherfucker, man, because at this point in time, man, bro, this era of boxing is sickening, bro. Like, I see why. And, I'm a lifer, so I'm going to always be in the sport of boxing, good or bad. Y'all got me for life. You feel what I'm saying? That's just what it is. I've come to that conclusion a long time ago. But I see why a lot of dudes just say, you know what, I can't support this. And they just move on from the sport of boxing and partake in being fans in different sports. You know what I'm saying? Because I swear, boxing is the only sport that continuously has problems making the best versus the best happen. We don't have these problems in basketball, football, not even rarely ever MMA. MMA has some, exceptions, but for the most part, every sports fan gets what they want except us, man. And, like I said, I'm going to really start branding this era of boxing the risk-averse era. Now, what is the meaning behind risk-averse? For those of y'all who've never heard that before. And according to, Google, risk-averse means you prefer to avoid uncertainty and potential losses, even if it means missing out on higher rewards. I'm going to say that one more time. Being risk-averse, I don't know if it's averse or averse. I think it's averse. Risk-averse means you prefer, let me get the pronunciation right. I don't want to be disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Risk-averse. All right. So I said it right the first time. Risk averse. This was a term that I had learned back when I was in college, and it ended up coming right back around. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? This definitely matches this current era of boxing and these fighters that we have. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna go through the definition one more time. Being risk averse means you prefer to avoid uncertainty and potential losses, even if it means missing out on higher rewards. God damn, that sounds like just about every fighter that we criticize in the sport of boxing today. And y'all know I've been heavily critical of Richardson Hitchins in the past and rarely agreeing with how the way he moves. I think that Richardson Hitchins is a very scary individual. I think he's somebody who definitely fits the the definition of risk averse. And for real, after I run through all these different situations, exhibits, because I'm well prepared for this situation. You know what I'm saying? By the end of this live, I think it's going to be very clear that Richardson Hitchins is the face of the risk averse era. So, ladies and gentlemen, like JK said, class is in session. I think we need to officially give this era of boxing a name because look at the sport of boxing right now. Everybody wants pound for pound recognition. You know what I mean? What else? Everybody wants championship money. Everybody wants superstar treatment. Everybody wants to be the A-sider. Everybody loves calling everyone else a duck, right? Social media obviously makes it even worse. Every other day somebody's online saying, he's food. I'll beat his ass. He's easy work. Send the contract. We hear all those cliche sayings, man. But whenever that fight actually becomes realistic, like that dangerous fight actually gets put on the table, suddenly these motherfuckers become accountants. You feel what I'm saying? These motherfuckers become accountants, bro. What's the purse? What's the split? I need the bigger split. I need a big split. What does he bring to the table? How big is his name? What network is it on? What do the higher ups think? My brother, the way that you talking, my nigga, I would think that you looking to file some taxes and some bullshit like that. Like, this is why I'm officially calling this era the risk-averse era. An era where fighters want all the rewards that come with being considered great, while at the same time managing how much risk they actually have to take to get there. I'm going to say that one more time for those of y'all who are a little bit lost. An era where fighters want all the rewards that come with being considered a great fighter, an all-time great fighter if they're shooting for that, while carefully managing how much risk they have to take at the end of the day in order to get to that destination. Let me establish something off rip. I'm paying attention. Hold on. Don't throw me off my square, y'all. Hello Kitty era, that's fucking hilarious. But let me cook, y'all, because I'm trying to ignore the comments right now. I see the comments rolling in. I'm trying to ignore it because I'm not trying to fall off my square. So let me get this shit off, and then we can have this conversation. So I was saying that this is the risk-averse era, bro. And I want to start this because I'm definitely cooking on Richardson Hitchins today. But I'm gonna make it clear that he ain't create this era, bro. There've been plenty of ducks all floating around this motherfucker way before Hitchins was a professional, maybe before he was even fucking born. There's been a whole lot of ducks throughout the history of boxing that just been floating through this motherfucking pond that we call boxing. You know what I'm saying? The problem for real, this whole risk-averse era is a much bigger problem, in my opinion, than just Richardson Hitchins. But Hitchins, bro, my dog, you are putting together a hell of a fucking resume to be the face of this risk-averse era. Because if it was just one situation, we probably let the shit slide. Two, all right, you know what I mean? Maybe that's a little bit of a coincidence. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a little coinkydink. I don't know. But when we start looking at the whole situation, this is a pattern that has to be addressed because I don't be seeing these other YouTube channels talking about this shit. You feel what I'm saying? So let's go all the way back to when Hitchins starts showing signs of being a Drake. And for those of y'all who don't know what a Drake is, that is a male duck. Exhibit A, Subriel Matias, man. We're going to have to rewind back to like 20. This was after my son, so I'm going to say that this was 2024, right? Richardson Hitchins, undefeated, just like he is now, climbing through the rankings. You know what I'm saying? I think he just left Floyd Mayweather and he signed with Matchroom Boxing and telling everybody that he is the best fighter at 140 pounds. He was telling everybody that would listen that was the case, right? And okay, I fuck with it. I love the vibes, man. I love the confidence. You know what I'm saying? I was actually fucking with Hitchins because, you know, he talked, you know, he spoke well. He knew how to talk trash and he was winning all of his fights. So I was fucking with where he was coming from. But there was a problem that surfaced pretty quickly after having this positive opinion about Richardson Hitchins, man. The IBF champion at 140 pounds at the time was Subriel Matias. This is before he won the WBC, all of that. His first world title, man. And, you know, Matias is coming off of a loss right now. I see Adam Azim is trying to pick on Subriel now because he's down bad. But at that point in time, Matias' reputation, the nigga was the boogeyman. Relentless pressure, volume, going to the body, you know, breaking these dudes down, making them quit, even catching a fucking body in the ring. You know what I mean? He was a guy that guys wasn't really trying to go out of their way to rumble. You feel me? And I clearly remember when Hitchins was climbing the IBF rankings. You know what I'm saying? And then I remember when he eventually fought Gustavo Lemos and all of that. And that was an IBF final eliminator. So I already know what type time it is when you're in these eliminators for the IBF. Slowly but surely, if you play your cards right and you get these wins, you end up facing that boogeyman. You know what I mean? You're putting yourself in position to challenge for the IBF junior welterweight title. So logically, in my fucking head, you know what I'm saying? He's saying, I'm the best 140-pound fighter in the world. And, you know, he's fighting in the IBF eliminator. I'm starting to think he wants Subriel Matias smoke. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least that's what I believe that should equal. I'm the best 140-pound fighter in the world. I'm fighting an IBF eliminator. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that should equal, give me the Subriel Matias fight, right? As men, we try to think as logically as possible. Real men, I guess you would say. I'm thinking he wants Subriel smoke. Except before he fought that Lemos fight, Hitchins starts discussing the IBF's second day rehydration clause. You know that, like, everybody's been having a problem with that, bro. Because the reality is none of these dudes is, you know, gonna fight comfortable 10 pounds above their fight weight. Because these dudes are boiling down from crazy weights. But anyways, it's a legitimate concern. You know, from what I understand, Richardson had dealt with the restriction before, and he didn't like how the way his body responded. That was one of the excuses that he had previously. You know, I'm not the type of person, you know, coming from the boxing world and stuff like that. I'm not going to tell another man how the way his body feels. You know what I'm saying? But then Richardson Hitchins had said something very interesting around that time. He said he had actually preferred, and it was on YSL Sports Media, shout out to my guy Jamil Parker, that he prefers the WBC route, right? So I'm like, okay, you're climbing up the IBF rankings. The IBF route leads to Subriel Matias, and I believe the WBC champion at that time was Devin Haney, right? So I'm seeing this nigga already trying to swerve out of this IBF lane and try to go, you know, a different direction and shit like that. So I was already suspicious about the dude. You feel what I'm saying? You went ahead and you attempted to take an alternate route. You know what I'm saying? Even though you entered the IBF eliminator, all of a sudden you're having second guesses and now you're saying that you're trying to go the WBC route. Okay. You feel what I'm saying? That's like a motherfucker, right? Who, because Hitchins ended up being #1 in the IBF. That's the craziest part. That's like you at a grocery store, right? And you're next in line, and the cashier is available to take your groceries, to go ahead and scan them. You pay for them, you go about your way. And then as soon as you get to the front of the line, you're like, yo, is there another register open? Why do you need to go to a different register when this one's available for you to get your job done? It's just ass backwards to me. I don't really understand that type of shit. But anyways, Hitchins goes ahead and he fights Lemos. Lemos brings the pressure, really gets on Hitchins, you know what I mean? Damn near mauling the motherfucker, forcing him backwards, clearly making him uncomfortable. He turned it into the ugly physical fight. Hitchins did what he needed to do. He got the decision, but plenty of people thought it was a close fight. You know what I mean? I remember at that time people were saying that they thought Lemos won. And now waiting at the end of the IBF road and stuff like that is an even more dangerous fighter at the time, which is Subriel motherfucking Matias. You feel what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So it's like you barely got past the fucking pit bull. Now they trying to line you up with a motherfucking lion. You feel me? So he was doing a little bit of ducking and dodging at that time, and I was holding him accountable for that at that moment in time. But then the fellow Australian, shout out to that boy Liam Paro, man, he enters the picture. And while everybody was, reluctant on face of Subriel Matias, that nigga went ahead and said, man, fuck it, I'll rumble him. You know what I'm saying? But what's crazy is not only did Liam Paro fight Subriel Matias, the nigga went to Puerto Rico in Matias's backyard. You know what I mean? Everybody thought Liam Paro was going to get his ass whooped. And instead, this nigga Liam Paro beats Subriel and takes his motherfucking title. And later, when Paro is preparing to fight Hitchins, I remember that whole press conference, Paro straight up he exposed Hitchins. He told him that he was hiding in the IBF ratings. That's not me. That's not Mazuma TV saying that shit. Liam Paro set it up out of his own motherfucking mouth. You know what I mean? That's the man who actually went to Puerto Rico and fought Matias saying the shit, not me. You know what I'm saying? So his argument was basically, you know what I'm saying? While we get what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? But all in all, guess who ends up taking that IBF championship opportunity after saying they wanted to go to WBC route? Richardson Hitchins against Liam Paro in Puerto Rico, bro. So when Matias had the championship, those IBF rehydration rules, Paro beats Matias. I'm ready for my title shot. Also, now the IBF looks like an absolutely spectacular opportunity to take. Did these niggas get rid of the rehydration clause? Did these niggas give you a bonus for missing weight, for making weight on the second day? What the fuck happened that all of a sudden switched your whole mentality around? What changed? I'm going to let y'all figure that. I'm going to let y'all put that in the comments. Right? We nowhere near done cooking, y'all. Shout out to the 39 people that's in the building. Now, Hitchins goes ahead to Puerto Rico, and he outclasses Liam Paro. I give him full credit for it. That was a great win. I think that's the best win in his career thus far. He becomes world champion. But for real, y'all niggas can't tell me that ain't the bid. That's fucking hilarious. You know what I'm saying? Subriel had the belt. Oh, let's explore our options. Liam Paro takes the belt off of Subriel. Oh, I'm here now. I'll fight you now, champ. I'll fight you now. Oh, my God, bro. Shit is crazy. But now Hitchins himself is champion. So, he's no longer a contender. He's a champion. He's one of the top-rated 140-pound fighters in the world. So in your mind, you would think that changes everything, right? Exhibit B, that was Exhibit A. Exhibit B, a man who was champion at 140 pounds at the time and is still currently champion at 140 pounds at this very moment, Gary Antoine Russell. But before I get into Exhibit B, let me see what the comments is talking about. My boy Justin Jackson said, Opportunity Hitchins. That's hilarious. Hitchins and Keyshawn are annoying champions. Agent Chaos said Keyshawn is way better than Hitchins. Salute, y'all. Salute. Salute, y'all. Rashonda, what's going on? Rashonda, good to see you. Hitchins is a Timu Haney. That's crazy. Jalil Aziz said the way Hitchins is moving out here is crazy work, nasty even. Ooh. Ooh-wee. Let's get back to the cooking. Can you peep my last comment? All right, let me see Trick's comment before I get back on road. Am I glad Richardson Hitchins didn't fight that drug cheat Matias? You don't think he dodged the bullet? I mean, well, at the time we didn't know that he was a fucking drug cheat. You know what I mean? So we was upset. But looking back on it, yeah. You know what I mean? Because we don't know what would have happened. You already know Super already done took one man off of this earth. And, you know, there's a possibility that he may have been on something, regardless of what he says. He adamantly denies it. But the reality is he had it in his system, and we don't know how long he's had it in his system. So looking back on the opportunity, I'm glad Subrel didn't get that opportunity. And I'm glad that Hitchins didn't fight him at the end of the day. He did dodge a bullet. But what I'm going over right now is how we was feeling in that very moment. You know, Hitchins was acting that way without any prior knowledge to Subrel being a drug cheat. You feel me? And, you know, what's so ironic is, you know, I've heard Hitchins talk about fighting Ryan Garcia and shit like that. And he's a known drug cheat as well. So, you know, PED usage must not be that big of a problem for Richardson Hitchins if he's willing to fight guys, you know, at the current moment who have had PEDs in their system. I think I've even heard him bring up fighting Conor Benn. He's a known drug cheat as well. But I digress. Let's get back to the cooking, y'all. Let's get back to the cooking, y'all. Salute to the nation. Salute to the mob. So, Exhibit B, right? We had Exhibit B. Exhibit B, somebody who, like I said, was champion at 140 pounds at the time, is still a world champion at 140 pounds, and did a whole lot of whooping Richardson Hitchins' ass in the amateurs, and that is Gary Antoine Russell. Gary Antoine Russell currently has a WBA junior welterweight title. You know, at the time, Richardson Hitchins had the IBF, same division, you know, 2 American champions, 2 belts. These guys already got history, like I said. You know what I'm saying? Gary done whooped on Hitchins multiple times in the amateurs. I think he beat him in the Olympics as well back in like wasn't 2012 because that's when we was kids around that time. So it got to be like 2016 because in 2016 I was like 18. I remember that. That's when I graduated high school. So that was like 2016 Olympics, right? He beat him. You know what I'm saying? So with that whole storyline between Hitchins and Gary, bro, that fight literally sells itself. You know what I'm saying? You got a unification fight and you have a possibility for revenge. You know what I'm saying? If I'm Richardson Hitchins, I would want that shit. You know what I mean? Like, you beat me before. Now we're both world champion. We're both professionals. We both got better since then. I believe in myself. This is perfect. Let's settle this shit as professionals so I can let you know that this shit ain't the amateurs. I'm a totally different monster. You know what I'm saying? Gary starts calling for the fight. You know what I'm saying? Hitchins was saying in the past that he was willing to unify with champions. So in my head at the time, I'm like, oh, well, this should be easy then. Gary got a belt. Hitchins got a belt. Gary wants it. Let's get this shit popping, right? Except when Gary presses the issue, this nigga Hitchins went on big boxing platforms and had the audacity to tell Gary Antoine Russell to go get his name up. This nigga went on social media platforms and told Gary Antoine Russell to go get his name up. Go get his name up? Did Lamos have to get his name up? Did Alamo have to get his name up? He is a fucking world champion. Y'all have belts in the same fucking division. Since when does a fucking unification fight need a motherfucker IG account with 1 million followers? What does Gary need? Do the nigga do he need 500,000 followers? Do the nigga need to go on TikTok and do a little viral dance? Like, do he need to be on Dancing with the Stars like Floyd did? What the fuck do he have to do in order to get his name up? Do the nigga need a Netflix documentary? He has the WBA junior welterweight title of the world. I thought that was all you fucking needed to make a big fight happen. You know what I'm saying? And here what makes that comment so crazy to me, man. What makes this shit so crazy to me is that Hitchins has been out here calling out guys who have bigger profiles than him. So if Hitchins goes ahead and he tells a nigga like Gary to go get his name up, you know what I'm saying? And let's say he calling out Devin Haney. Couldn't Devin Haney look at Hitchins and be like, yo, nigga, get your name up before you rumble me? You know what I'm saying? And I was like, oh shit, we got a motherfucking problem. Oh, he ducking me. Names don't matter. I'm elite. Fight me. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what Hitchins been doing lately, calling out Haney and shit like that. You know what I mean? And then you turn to another world champion who literally got like the same fucking star power as you. Neither one of y'all are stars, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Y'all not putting asses in seats. Y'all not selling out your hometown or nothing like that. Y'all not generating no record-breaking numbers and nothing like that. Like Floyd said, y'all not doing no crazy gates, when y'all main event of John. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand this dude Hitchins, bro. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be sitting here telling Haney and them, oh, you know what I mean? I don't need a name. I don't need to be a big name. I'm elite. Why don't you fight me? And then go ahead and tell a nigga like Gary Antoine, you ain't famous enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you trying to be the A side with niggas who on your level, you know what I'm saying? But you're clearly a B side with niggas that, are above you. Like, you can't be the A side and the B side, my nigga. Especially at the same time, like, you can't be both of those things. And do you know how Gary Antoine gets his name up, Hitchins? Do you know how he gets his name up? By fighting you. You know what I'm saying? You know how you get your name up? By fighting Gary Antoine Russell. Like, that's the fucking point of a unification fight. You know what I'm saying? What the comment saying? Nah. Wait, what? Bro, we not even speaking on that subject, bro. We're not even speaking on that subject, bro. Cut it out. We speaking about the risk-averse era, my nigga. So it's either you end on this conversation or you can go ahead. Anyways, so that's the point of a unification to me. Because, y'all fight each other. You know what I mean? Whoever wins this fight, their profile go through the roof and all that shit, man. You know what I mean? And I'm going to keep it real. There's times where, you know what I mean? You don't wait until both fighters are superstars, man. That fight right there could possibly make them the superstar that they're looking to be. And this is another part that be fucking me up, to be honest with you, bro. Gary already whooped this nigga in the amateurs multiple times. I think the nigga's like 4-0 against him. You know what I'm saying? Like, in my mind, if somebody beat me multiple times, they follow me into the pros. They got a world championship in the same division as me. They start calling me out. Bro, like, you couldn't keep me away from that type of fight, especially if I felt like I believed in myself and I knew that I could beat the nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd be like, yo, remember the Olympics, motherfucker? Yo, you gonna have to see me over here now. This is a different setting. This a new day. You feel me? Like, you gonna have to see me. I want my get back. But apparently, Gary needs to be a bigger fucking name. Okay, dog. You want somebody to have a bigger profile? Say less. Say less. This is a beautiful transition. Exhibit C. Keyshawn motherfucking Davis. And we're going to speak about Keyshawn Davis because he's definitely somebody who is a part of the risk-averse era. But just to continue speaking on Hitchins, bro. Keyshawn Davis, Olympic silver medalist, former WBO lightweight champion of the world. Top Rank was pushing on very heavy when, they were on good terms. Recognizable. His name is tied to a lot of big names in the sport of boxing. And, what I feel like is more important than, all of this is that Hitchins and Keyshawn don't like each other. There's a storyline between them. These two already got animosity. There's already some beef between them. They've sparred before. They've talked shit to each other. Hitchins has talking about, beating up on Keyshawn and sparring. You know what I mean? Like, it's an actual storyline here. You want a name? Gary's not a big enough of a name. Here's a fucking name. Keyshawn Davis. You wanted attention? Here's the attention that you're looking for. You wanted a bigger fight? Like Eddie Hearn says, you want a bigger fight commercially. Here the fuck it is. Here's the fight right here. And negotiations actually began between these two, right? They were discussing this fight that happened at Madison Square Garden. And I remember Tim Bradley was talking about it on his YouTube channel, and he said that Keyshawn wanted around $2 million, which is so funny because with Dev, he wanted more than $3 million, but with Keyshawn, he wanted $2 million. And from what Tim said, Hitchins wanted around 2.5. You know what I'm saying? And Bradley was pretty much bashing both. I think that the criticism was warranted. You know what I'm saying? That is important. I'm not blaming Hitchins alone for the fight falling apart. You know what I mean? Keyshawn wanted a good amount of money too. I've criticized both of them for how the way they moved in negotiations. You know what I'm saying? But I think Hitchins went on Akin Barak or whatever the dude name is, and he gave his own version of numbers. You know what I'm saying? Hitchins had said something along the lines of the offer reached around $2 million, and they wanted 2.5 to 3. They offered him 2, but he wanted 2.5 to 3. So it's like, all right, yo, Gary Antoine Russell. Oh, that nigga got to get his name up. You know what I mean? So you found somebody with a bigger name. Now you talking about get the money up. So it's either get your name up when it's when you feel like they're a nobody, but then when you fight somebody, all of a sudden you got to get the money up. You know what I mean? Like, how much more shit do we have to get up, my nigga? Like, what we leveling up next? What the fuck is we doing here, Hitchins? You know what I mean? And I ain't the type nigga to pocket watch and, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. Like, boxing's dangerous. Careers are short. They trying to get every dollar that they can. My issue isn't that, Hitchins was negotiating because that's a part of business. My issue is how aggressively fighters demand opportunities, you know what I'm saying, when they can't get them, and how quickly, the language changes once they have some sort of leverage. You know what I'm saying? Because when Hitchins and Keyshawn was going face to face, talking shit to each other, they telling themselves, "I smoke you, I fuck you up," blah blah blah. Then negotiations begin, and they on some shit where it's like, taking into consideration, my current market value, I feel like, man, what the fuck? All right, my nigga. You see what I'm saying? Like, come on, dog. Like, now let's eliminate the business negotiations entirely, right? Let's get an opponent, sign the contract, complete training camp, make weight, actually schedule the fight. Surely nothing could go wrong now, right? Right? Wrong. Exhibit D, Oscar Duarte, ladies and gentlemen. because the negotiation, the fight fell out because of negotiations, but now you actually have a fight set in front of you with Oscar Duarte, man. And for real, the Duarte fight was an interesting fight stylistically. You know what I mean? This wasn't gonna be like a chess match, in my opinion. Duarte was obviously looking to come forward, put pressure, be physical, go to the body. And we already seen Hitchins in the past have trouble with that type of style. You know what I mean? They aren't identical fighters. But even I remember Robert Garcia. Had said something about basically, the Lemos fight was evidence, that like consistent pressure could bother Hitchins. So obviously that's what they were looking to do. That was the game plan. You feel what I'm saying? So that fight was interesting, right? The fight was interesting. And I was thinking to myself, can Hitchins show that the Lemos performance was just a bad night? Was it really the weight cut? Was it I was really looking forward to seeing whether Hitchins had gotten better from that experience. Can he make the adjustment? Can he dominate a pressure fighter? I was ready to find out. So fight week arrives. Hitchins talking this shit. You know what I'm saying? On Friday, Hitchins got the meta glasses on. He's sitting on the scale. He makes 140 pounds on the money. Saturday morning, he does he passes the second day weigh-ins. You know what I'm saying? Duarte passes the second day weigh-ins, and we hours away from the fight. I remember I was putting together a final prediction video for that fight. And all of a sudden, the fight is fucking off. Hitchins withdraws the day of the fucking fight. Hitchins, all right, let Hitchins tell it. He was sick. You know what I'm saying? It was a brutal weight cut. He was vomiting and, feeling depleted. And, eventually he moved up to 147 as a result of that, right? And I'm not telling you that Hitchins faked the illness. I can't really prove that. I'm not his doctor. I really can't tell you shit. But what I can say is just the optics of the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, out of all the fights that you pulled out of, that you felt bad, that you had a stomach virus, that you was depleted from, it happened to be the aggressive pressure fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like the aggressive pressure fighter that historically you've had trouble with, not just Lemos, but I remember I seen Rolly punching you all up and down the ring at Mayweather's gym. You know what I'm saying? So all of a sudden, all these fights that you took, William Paro, no stomach virus or problems, no George Kambosos fight. You know what I mean? Well, neither one of these guys have come forward pressure fighters, but all of a sudden, when you get that style in front of you that all of us have been waiting for you to redeem yourself against, all of a sudden your body talking about like, nah, gang, I can't do it. No, we're not gonna be able to recover, bro. We can't do it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's just the optics of the whole situation. You know what I'm saying? That just make the shit just so suspicious to me. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the boy Boxer Professor with the 10 jewels. I really appreciate you coming through and showing love, brother. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Just want to get through these few things before I forget, man. I am a very forgetful person. Anyways, with the whole Duarte situation, man, I felt very bad for Oscar, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, can you imagine Oscar Duarte being in his hotel room or some shit, and they hit him up and they're like, yo, Oscar. He like, what's up? They like, Hitch is not fighting. Why? He's sick. Like, my nigga, I would be sick too if I was Oscar. Like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? I seen Duarte was all upset. He was accusing Hitchins of being scared. You know what I'm saying? I can't prove that. You know what I mean? I have my suspicions, but for the most part, I could understand why he upset, bro. He didn't lose his opportunity for a world title a month out, 3 weeks out, 2 weeks out, 1 week out, 3 days out. Bro, he lost his opportunity the same day where he believed that he was about to become world champion. You know what I mean? So I felt bad for him. Hours before he was supposed to fight, he lost the opportunity. And then eventually Hitchins leaves 140 altogether. And I guess that gives his story some type of credibility, but it also raises an obvious question in my eyes. And this, if your body has reached to the point where making 140 leaves you physically incapable of following a fight. A fight in the following night. Why are you still at 140 pounds, man? Hitchins been complaining about being at 140, but for some strange reason, this man did not want to move up to 140 pounds. Was it because the IBF probably would have ranked him very high on the rankings when, John Ennis was IBF welterweight champion of the world, who also whooped on Richardson Hitchins' ass in the amateurs? I don't know. I had my suspicions. But regardless, he moves to welterweight. You know what I'm saying? It's a fresh division. No more squeezing down to 140. He's getting new opportunities. He signs with Zuffa. You know what I mean? So finally, we could get some competitive fights out of Richardson Hitchins, right? So far, wrong. And for my final exhibit, I will be bringing up Brian Norman Jr. I cannot believe the shit that I saw on Twitter earlier today. But let me go ahead and break this last exhibit down as well. This is the situation in my eyes that brings everything full circle. Brian Norman didn't randomly start mentioning, Richardson Hitchins. You know what I mean? Hitchins brought Brian's name up. Richardson had talked about their sparring. According to Richardson Hitchins, he beat Brian Norman up. Brian was younger. Richardson was the Haitian Olympian. He described Norman, in a way where you would think that he considered him easy work. And, now at 47, Hitchins talking, wow, I'll beat Brian. I'll whoop Brian. You know what I'm saying? He was talking shit to Brian Norman Sr. He said some shit along the lines of, if you think that I'm like I'm like a bitch or whatever the case is, why don't you tell your son to fight me? And he talking all this shit. He'll knock Brian Norman out. He ain't Devin Haney. Okay, bet. Then fight the motherfucker, right? So Brian Norman Jr. ain't doing all that rapping with him and all that. So basically, he told the nigga Hitchins, let's run it. And I'm like, oh shit, here we go. Let's see what Hitchins say. You know what I mean? That's, at least to me, that's how it's supposed to work. You feel me? Hitchins talking about, I'll knock you out. Brian Norman talking about, okay, let's fight. Call whoever needs to be called. Get the promoters, get Zuffa, get the managers, figure out the money, pick a date. You know what I mean? Like, let's get it popping. The only problem is Richardson Hitchins followed up with a fucking tweet after talking all that bullshit, and then he says the higher-ups don't want it. So that let me know one of two things. One, you already looking for a way out of that motherfucking fight. Two, you basically be letting these niggas bully you and tell you what you're going to do with your career. You have no say-so in your career. Niggas only say that shit when they don't have the freedom to choose their own opponents or move how they want to move. Or, submit to their motherfucking masses. And just let them guide his career however they feel best. He just okay with whatever happens. That's how I perceive the shit. You feel me? But it's like, what? Hitchins like, bro, like, you the one who brought him up, bro. You brought up the sparring. You said that you'll whoop his ass. You said all this type of disrespectful shit, especially the senior. You know what I mean? You whoop on him, you knock him out. Brian Norman said the bet. Because Brian Norman on his Ring Magazine interviews talking about how nobody want to rumble him. Everybody turning him down. He talking about all these niggas are soft. That's what he out here saying. And ain't nobody pulling this nigga card whatsoever. It's crazy. And now you over here talking about the higher ups. This is the first time that I heard a boxer like say that specifically. Oh, well, the higher ups don't want it. So, if the higher ups don't want it, then I don't. But the higher ups wanted your last opponent. They wanted your last opponent, right? That nigga that ain't nobody know, the nigga who's completely not the nigga's not notable. That's what the higher ups wanted to see. They didn't want to see a Brian Norman Jr. fight. So you telling me Turki Al-Sheikh, who has been the financer behind Zuffa Boxing, the people that you currently signed to, Turki Al-Sheikh was against you fighting Brian Norman, a former world champion, one of the biggest names in the welterweight division. He was against that. I thought Turki was for making all the biggest fights happen. I just don't believe that shit. You know what I mean? I'm trying to figure out who the fuck the higher ups is anyway, nigga. Is this, like, whatever, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who the fuck we need to speak to, but this is where Hitchins be losing me, bro. It's just a fucking pattern at this point. You know what I mean? If you already know the people controlling your matchmaking or the niggas who be telling you what to do, your bosses, if you know they don't want you to fight Brian Norman, why the fuck is you out here selling this fight to the boxing fans? Why are you selling us a Brian Norman Jr. fight, if that's the case? Why tell everybody that you're going to knock him out, that you're going to stop him? What are we supposed to do with that information? These niggas just be talking, man. These niggas just be talking. We want the real fight. That's one of the biggest fucking problems with boxing today. And this is exactly why, moving forward, we're going to be calling this shit the risk-averse era. The fighter, I'll beat his ass. The opponent, let's fight. Fighter, well, you have to understand the business landscape and you gotta understand that the higher ups are the ones that pay for the fight. You know, so if they're not willing to pay for the fight, then we can't make the fight. Nigga, shut the fuck up, bro. Shut the fuck up. You told the nigga he'll whoop his ass. You'll whoop his ass. So where I'm from, if you say some shit like that, nigga, you need to go whoop his ass. Other words, you're gonna come across as a fucking coward and a liar. And that's something, in my opinion, Richardson Hitchins has shown to be habitually since his rise to the top at 140 pounds. And maybe Hitchins not lying. Maybe, I mean, maybe he's telling the truth about the higher ups not wanting to fight. You know what I mean? I don't know what's happening behind closed doors, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even going to criticize that. My question is simple, though. If you know that the fight is not wanted by the people that are controlling your fucking matchmaking or your career, why you keep volunteering what you would do to that man? Why would I talk about what I would do to somebody if my intentions was never to do anything to that person in the first place? You, like, don't create demand for a fight, then explain why the fight can't happen. You know what I mean? Especially when the opponent accepts the challenge. That's what Brian Norman did. So anyways, man, I done gave y'all like 4 or 5 different exhibits at this point. You know what I mean? We went through the whole timeline. You know what I mean? We put it all together. You know what I mean? We could go over it again, bro. Subriel Matias, fucking Gary Antoine Russell. You know, with Subriel, you know what I mean? The fight doesn't happen. You feel me? He had his reasons. Gary Antoine Russell, get your name up. Keyshawn, get the money up. Oscar Duarte, you know what I mean? Pull out of the fight. Fucking Brian Norman, I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do to you. You know what I mean? I'm going to tell you how I ain't Devin Haney, but we're not going to make the fight happen because my bosses don't want it to happen. Like, how many different ways can one man not fight a nigga, bro? This dude Hitchins done found every way possible to not fight a nigga. Every fucking way. Ain't that shit crazy, bro? I ain't gonna lie. That shit low-key impressive. I never seen a nigga find a way out of so many fights and from so many different angles. This nigga pulled the angles out like he banned with some shit. This shit is incredible. This nigga covered the whole menu, y'all. Shit is crazy. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna keep it real. Like, it just could fight. He got an elite jab, excellent distance control, bro. Sharp 1-2. You know what I mean? Good timing. Intelligent. And that's exactly why I want to see these matchups. If I felt like the nigga was trash, I wouldn't care to see him at all. I'm gonna keep it real. I want to watch him rumble. I want the Gary Antoine Russell fight. Well, I did want that. You know, at the time, I wanted the Keyshawn Davis fight. If we could get that going again, then I would love to see that. They both at 47, apparently. You know what I mean? I wanted to see how the way he handled Duarte's pressure. And I definitely want to see him fight Brian Norman at 47. That's a great fucking fight, bro. You know what I mean? And like I said, bro, this bigger than Hitchins. You feel me? There's plenty of ducks in the risk-averse era, man. Hitchins didn't create this mentality, but in my opinion, he definitely, shares this mentality with a few other guys, man. Shout out to everybody in the comments. Y'all go ahead and mention the names that are responsible for the risk-averse era, man. Y'all go ahead and leave that shit in the comments real quick. Leave that shit in the comments real quick. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie, Hitchins. You starting to look like the motherfucking poster child for the risk-averse era, man. We got plenty of motherfucking ducks out here in these streets, but you out here looking like what was that duck name in that on them commercials? You start to look like that big motherfucker right there, that big duck that was on them commercials. What's the name of that duck, y'all? It was like for an insurance company or some shit like that. This is exactly how the fuck Hitchins starting to look. What's the name of that motherfucking duck? Shit is crazy, bro. Somebody gonna say Virgil. Virgil definitely a face of the risk-averse era, that's for sure. Oh yeah, Jay Affleck. Yeah, motherfucker looking like Affleck out here in these streets, boy. That shit crazy. You know what I mean? So stop talking about who you would beat, bro. Stop talking about who you beat up in sparring. Stop telling niggas who you gonna knock out, bro. You know what I mean? Like your mouthpiece, bro, that shit building up a hell of a resume. You done talk shit to all these different niggas, bro. You know what I mean? You be popping it. I just want your box rec to catch up to what that bullshit it is that you saying, bro. If your box rec could catch up to your motherfucking mouth, we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now, bro. So I really hope that nigga Hitchins gets it together, man. He's looking like the poster boy of the risk-averse era, man. It's getting to the point where this nigga starting to look like the StreamYard logo out this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Nigga starting to look like the motherfucking StreamYard logo out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is, man. I done gave y'all a full motherfucking timeline on Richardson Hitchins and, him habitually showcasing how good of a duck he is. You feel me? Jay said this nigga 50-0 in online arguments. That's a fact. Bella Faith in the building. Yeah, I seen Hitchins say that shit too. Hitchins said he better than Canelo. Now, y'all know I don't fuck with Canelo all like that, bro. You know what I mean? He been on some duck shit throughout his career, in my opinion. Got caught with PEDs in the system, all that. But one thing we can't deny, that nigga Canelo done fought some real dogs and actually beat some real dogs. Hitchins, you got a whole lot of nerve to be talking about Canelo Alvarez like that when all that nigga did was face elite competition. Not only that, but been a part of some big ass fights, pushed the boxing culture forward, became the biggest name in his country, especially at this point. He's still the biggest name in Mexican boxing. And you got the nerve to say that you better than him? What the fuck have you done? Who the fuck have you fought to prove that? And you only talking crazy about the nigga because he ain't nowhere near your weight class to fight your dumb ass. Why don't you say that you a better fighter than Jerron Ennis? Go say that. Go say that you a better fighter than, motherfucking Devin Haney. Like niggas that you can actually get close to fighting. Why don't you just say that? Talking about Canelo, that you better than you're not better than Canelo. Not right now. You haven't shown it. You haven't done anything to show that. Have you fought a nigga on the level of a Miguel Cotto? How about a Triple G? How about a Daniel Jacobs? How about a fucking Billy Joe Saunders? You haven't beat anybody on that level, bro. Simple and plain. And if you so much better than Canelo, then why are you on the undercard of a nigga that Canelo Alvarez beat the fuck up? If you so much better than him, why are you fighting on Edgar Berlanga's undercards if you so much better than Canelo? Nigga, shut up. Shut the fuck up. How you let a nigga who never won a world title, A nigga that who probably will never get a world title. How you let that nigga main event over you? And you actually done had a world title. You actually more accomplished than Edgar Berlanga. How the fuck that work? But it is what it is. Hitchins stopped Kambosos. Okay, so Loma stopped him too. And a lighter weight. Berlanga said his fight with Canelo was a movie. Nigga, what type of movie? Oh man, what the fuck type of movie you talking about? And bro, that nigga was dreaming, bro. He loved the fact that he was so starstruck by Canelo, like he still can't believe that he got in there with him. That nigga, you could tell Canelo was his idol the way he was moving. These niggas get in the ring with Canelo and get starstruck. Shout out to Bud, bro. Bud too much of a competitor to be praising anybody that ain't himself. Schofield Jr. Duck Core. Oh yeah. He probably had one of the most atrocious situations because they went so they were so extreme with it. Like they poisoned my son. They rubbed cream on my son. They ripped the signature page out our passports. You know, they had us arrested by the police. The SWAT came to our house. They said that we was, I ain't gonna say what they said, but it was so extreme. Oh, they sent us to the awards. They was trying to distract us. Oh, we don't like this WBC check-in weigh-ins and all this bullshit. Floyd Schofield didn't cut weight properly. He had a horrific weight cut. He started to feel the effects of that weight cut. He got sick. He got hospitalized because he was dehydrated, severely dehydrated, and they pulled him from the fight. But I guess the Schofields didn't feel like that was a valid enough reason. So they went ahead. This is just my opinion, y'all. It's not definitive. But this is what I personally think. Y'all had a bad weight cut. Y'all got the weight off wrong. Maybe them WBC check-in weigh-ins fucked up y'all weight cut process or whatever the case is. Your body probably went into shock. Nigga said he felt like he was floating. Bro, that's a sign. That is a symptom of severe dehydration. You know what I mean? With your head spinning and all that shit. Yeah, like I remember, I've been through that. I know what that is. So that's what happened. And, you know what I mean? A bad weight cut, that's not a legitimate enough excuse for that situation. So let's go ahead and say something extreme like, oh, they poisoned my son. Okay. Nigga trying to push whatever narrative he can to make his son not look like a coward and destroy his reputation. But you was able to fool them. You ain't fool us. That's for sure. Ralph said he was having dreams about Canelo. Bro, the crazy shit is Ralph not even joking. Like Edgar really said that. That's what's crazy. Like he literally said that. Nigga said he dreamed about Canelo. Like what the fuck, nigga? Like even if you did, why is you saying that to him at a press conference? That's letting him know that he in your head. He got you. Because usually you dream about the shit that be stressing you out or dreams of, whenever you're going through something like that, your brain is so powerful that it could put together like a dream that represents how you feeling. So like, I remember the one time I kept having this dream that my teeth were falling out my mouth. And I remember, I forgot exactly what the meaning of that dream was, but I just remember that when I had read the meaning behind that dream, it fit the exact description of what I was going through at that time. And once I, figured that out, I never had that dream again. So this nigga Berlanga was probably so nervous, so in his head about fighting Canelo that shit even carried over to his dreams. You know what I'm saying? Like it could really be that. But yeah, you shouldn't be admitting that shit to no man. You should never. You said nigga woke up That nigga woke up with wet sheets after the fight. Yeah. Yup. Wouldn't be surprised. Fear of failure, Cypher Bud. That's definitely what it is. Just the risk-averse era, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy that there's so many different examples of Hitchins just so scared to roll the dice. And, there's some honorable, there's people who've done worse than Hitchins, to be honest with you. But you know what I mean, like Keyshawn definitely gonna be mentioned in this era. Bella, I don't be holding back no punches. I'll be calling these niggas coochie all the time, yo. You know what I mean? I'm just letting you know how I see the shit. Like, these dudes don't want to take no chances, bro. These motherfuckers don't want to take no chances. You know what I mean? They trying to avoid uncertainty. They trying to avoid potential L's. You know what I mean? Even if it means even if it means missing out on great rewards. That's exactly what Keyshawn did. That Devin Haney was a tough style. There was a possibility he may come up short. So before he does that, he's going to ask for an extraordinary amount of money that's outside his market value. He felt like the fight was worth a lot more than what it was. Top Rank put their purse bid in, and he ended up getting less than what they tried to guarantee him for the fight. So then he pulled out. After all that shit he done talked. And from what I heard, I don't know if this is true, they said his biggest purse was a little less than $1 million. So it's like, my nigga, what? Trick said Hitchins versus Jack Catterall. I like that fight. I think Jack Catterall need a big fight, man. I think he deserves it, bro. The way he was able to bounce back from that Barbosa loss and, really get, running those numbers up. He got the WBA regular, from what I understand. After he beat Giasov, I like it, bro. Lorenzo said this era, pussy. Yeah, that's definitely what's going on in these streets. I don't know what's worse though, bro. I don't know what's worse though with Hitchins. Is it telling that nigga Gary Antoine to get his name up? Nah, the craziest situation is the Super L one. I'm sorry. That was by far the worst one. Then this nigga seen Super L in person and was like, why would I fight you at this weight? Why would I fight you at this weight when I'm not gonna feel good? Why would I fight you, bro? What? So, and you can't make it seem like it's a weight thing, bro, because you could have had the same. Because first of all, you could have moved up. You chose not to. You stood there. So obviously, weight's not that big of a problem. But what's crazy is you ain't say that shit about Liam Paro. You fought him. But when it comes to Super L, why would I fight you if I'm not gonna be 100%? Bro, Hitchins is the scariest nigga to walk this planet, bro. There's a reason why he the little bro. There's a reason why he the little bro in every circle he in. He ain't got enough dog in him to be that, to be the leader. He ain't got enough manpower in him. For real. And I seen this nigga Hitchins is jealous. He's like, man, I feel like Floyd Mayweather don't fuck with me out of all the young guys. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy because I was signed with him, and you know what I'm saying? Oh, this is bullshit. Like, basically, Floyd don't show him no love. And I know he's salty because he always be trying to act like Floyd. So him realizing that Floyd don't fuck with him all like that, he's salty in the bitch. Oh, he talking to Shakur. He talking to Shakur. He talk to Bud. He don't talk to me, nigga, because you not dumb. You not dumb, bro. You ain't accomplished what Shakur accomplished. That's a pound for pound level fighters. Some niggas got him ranked top 3 in the world. You not on that level. You haven't done enough. You had 1 world title. This nigga Shakur, a 4-division world champion. Josue Hernandez said, yo, Mazuma, thoughts on Collazo and Sandoval potentially happening October 10th in Chicago? I fuck with it, man. Shout out to the Shy, bro. I like that shit. I'm gonna have to watch some Sandoval. I mean, watch on him and see exactly what he bringing to the table. But Collazo's on a mission right now, bro. He's been putting on some great performances, beating the motherfuckers into submission, making them quit. So I heard he's moving up for the Sandoval fight. So I got to see exactly how the way this dude fight, and then from there I'll be able to break it down. Sean Terrence said, "You seen Alicia fight enough?" Yeah, I saw that. I seen the girl that she's fighting. She's competing for the IBF title. I heard they doing 3-minute rounds, so I guess that's good. Now, what makes it more interesting is the fact that she was running around justifying not fighting Carolyn Dubois just one fight ago by saying that she fights at 130, she don't fight at 135, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like Carolyn should be worried about girls in her division because she's not in her division. Then one fight, literally the next fight after saying that, you're competing at 135. So definitely contradictory, hypocritical, to be honest, from Alicia. But you know what I mean? I'm willing to deal with that hypocrisy if that means that she's fighting Carolyn Dubois, early 2027. Or at least in 2027. I wouldn't mind that at all. I would love to see that fight. Let me see. Jack Red says, Mark, what's your pound for pound list in 2026? I don't have it in front of me. I definitely gotta do some editing, to be honest with you, because a lot of shit didn't change since the last time I put my pound for pound list together. We can do that tomorrow. We can put together a nice pound for pound list tomorrow if that's what y'all want to do. There's no big topics out here. We can go ahead and tighten up our pound for pound list and go from there. But let me see. Let me check my Google Docs real quick. I think my pound for pound list is on there. Yeah, so the last time that we updated the pound for pound list, or at least opened our pound for pound list, was June 13th of 2026. And our pound for pound list goes as follows. Let me go ahead and share the screen. Yeah, her gas tank definitely not that good, but she's been pushing for them 3-minute rounds, looks like. But this is the updated, this was the pound for pound list that we looked at back in January. So Naoya Inoue being number 1, Usyk number 2, Bivol number 3. I ain't gonna lie though, Chad, I do want to start looking at these numbers a little bit more closely because there has been a lot of inactivity. From some of these guys. And with Usyk retiring soon, we're gonna have to drop him off the list. But regardless, Inoue, Usyk, Bivol, Bam, Benavidez, Devin, Shakur, Junto, Collazo, and Emmanuel Navarrete. Now, we could definitely do some changing. There's a lot of shit done changed. So we definitely gonna have to fix this list. But that's how it was at the time. I thought it was a pretty good list. No, I'm not putting Shakur Stevenson number 3 on my pound for pound list. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he's a 4th-division champion and all that. He beat Teofimo Lopez, yes. You know what I mean? And I see Shakur bigging up Tio now, despite him being a racist and all of that. He's bigging him up now, congratulating him for being a world champion again. Whatever. But I'm not putting Shakur top 3. I can't. I think Bivol, has proven more at a high level. You know what I mean? He's actually became undisputed. Got the skills, got the resume, got the accolades. You know what I mean? I can't help but put him there. I see a few guys on that list that Boots should be above. Yeah, but this was prior to Boots unifying against Xander Zayas. This list isn't updated yet. So, like I said, we could work on this tomorrow for sure. You know what I mean? And we can fix some things up, have a conversation, and get that list together, man. You know what I mean? But we got any last questions before I get up out of here, man? Shout out to the 50 people that's in the building. We had some good viewership today. Moses Atama versus Philip Herkovich fight this week for the IBF heavyweight belt. Yeah, I seen some people doubting Moses Atama and shit like that. But I think Moses Atama gonna smoke Herkovich. That's just my opinion. I think he gonna ice him. And I think we're gonna have a new champion in the heavyweight division. The problem is, If he struggles with Herkovich, right? If he loses, a lot of people gonna call him a hype job. If he wins in a tough fight, the other champions in the division gonna look at him like food, or they gonna feel like he's not ready for those world level fights yet. You feel me? But the problem is, once you win a world title, ain't no stepping backwards, bro. Ain't no time. Like we ain't got the patience nor the time for you to just be sitting back fighting tune-ups and all that shit. Trying to get better. Terra Mona and Moses will soon be a rivalry. I gotta watch dude a little bit more because I seen this one dude. I was watching some boxing platform. I ain't gonna say. I think no, actually, it was. I was watching my boy, one of my favorites all time, the inspiration behind Mazuma TV. I was watching 78 Sports TV's live stream, and there was some dude on his platform. I forgot his name. My apologies to the brother, but he was like, "Oh yeah, Terra Mona. Yeah, Terra Mona's gonna be a problem, man. Like most of the time, I better watch out for him because I think he'll destroy most of the time." And I'm like, that can't be the Terra Mona that I watched fight before. I was like, there's no way. You know what I mean? So I gotta sit back and watch him and see what the hype is about. Cause, watching him that one time, I never got the indication that he was gonna reign at the top of the division or he would be too much for Moses of the time. I've seen a lot more from Moses than Terra Mona. But, it is what it is. Man, Moses of the time, bro, this nigga, his level changes, his face, his hand speed, his fucking counter punch, the fucking timing on most of the time. And you could tell he got some pop too. He looked real strong. You know what I mean? He ain't the biggest heavyweight, but the motherfucker, he not like the most ripped up one neither. But he looked very strong. He looks very fast. He looks very sharp, bro. So man, most of the time of the truth, bro. I can't wait for him to prove it against Herkovich for sure. But all right, y'all. I'm gonna get up out of here, man. I appreciate you guys for coming by. You know what I mean? Listening to my little monologue and things of that nature. I'm gonna go ahead and give me some rest. I'm gonna lay back with the wifey and my son, and we're gonna start this live back at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow to continue cooking up what's going on in the boxing world. Until then, hope you guys have a blessed, beautiful one. My body, man. Peace.